Hello, I'm PXTricker, and have you ever secretly thought to yourself, wouldn't it be great if all Minecraft blocks were replaced by gravel? I really hope you haven't thought that, but just in case you have, today I have some great news, because this is the gravel texture pack for Minecraft Bedrock. It is technically a texture pack you can technically download, and I wanted to talk about this today because there's no opinion that's too extreme to hold in 2018, including that every block should look more like gravel. But yeah, I figured this would just be like, oh, it's just a sea of gravel, but it's a really interesting texture pack because there's so many different versions of gravel that it's just an experience to go in, and that's why we're going to be checking it out today. Hopefully you do enjoy checking out the worst texture pack ever made by anyone, and we'll be doing it in our normal form. We'll be using the Let's Play world as my base. So again, this is a copy of the Let's Play world, but it's a base world that we can use as a way to compare this against other texture packs and even the default one. So yeah, you can see immediately that it's not even the new gravel texture they're using the old one, which I immediately looked at and thought, oh, that actually is quite a good thing, because this means that, the better gravel texture, it's still pretty bad, it's still not a great looking block, but like, okay, that's kind of nice. And yeah, for some reason the jack-o'-lantern is made of gravel, and if we go inside of our house, which is, by the way, made of wood and gravel, because like I said, everything's slightly gravelly, or at least most things are, you can see how, like, oh yeah, isn't it great that the wood is made of gravel too, and so is the floor. Even my bed, it's a gravel bed, because guess what? This texture pack makes literally everything gravel, but I thought this was a, a really creative texture pack, because it doesn't just take the obvious things of, like, let's replace a bunch of blocks of gravel. Like, why is my, not my note block, my jukebox made of gravel? Because, it's the gravel texture pack. You like gravel. Why is the background on the item frame made of gravel? Because, again, same exact reasoning, and it's pretty, it's pretty amusing the balance they struck between finding different ways to texture things like gravel, because you might assume, like, oh, well, you've only seen wood gravel, you've seen, like, old gravel on the bricks, and a lot of blocks are replaced by gravel, including, somehow, like, melons are gravel, and so is, like, tilled land. But, then it gets really creative when you see stuff like, oh, this is the gravel fence block. The problem with fences in Minecraft, and even going into the future where we're adding a whole bunch of new walls, is we just don't have a gravel fence. That problem is solved with this texture pack. It's exciting, it's great. Oh, the problem with grass is it doesn't look enough like gravel. This texture pack solves that problem, even gives it little gravel particles, it seems. Oh, it turns into gravel when you break it? Okay, yeah, well that's... Apparently it's a result. How does that even work? So everything is gravel, you break it, it turns back into gravel, and while it's not gravel, it looks suspiciously like it. Again, look at this floor right here. It truly is the beauty you can expect from seeing if the world looked like gravel instead. And again, the thing about this texture pack that I love is it's like, it takes the straightforward things, but then also goes a few steps too far on this one. So, for instance, the ones where I was like, my god, this is definitely too far, is stuff like, okay, so the iron blocks, they're gravel, the beacon is a glowing block of gravel, and then the beacon, like tower, that is made of gravel too. This is a rotating beacon thing, and just, again, everything about this is a big no, my god, what am I doing here? But yet, there you can see, it's the gravel is what grants you powers, because gravel is almighty, according to some people. And you know what? This texture pack makes me physically sick. Like, who wanted this? Who made this? Like, while making this, it's one of those things where, like, it was a fun joke while you're in the process of it, but as soon as you are done, it's the sort of thing you have to delete immediately and hope no one else sees. It's like a deadly virus. Like, sure, it'd be fun to develop in a lab, but the moment you release it onto the world, it's the same. Even the lava is gravel. The moment you release it into the world, you've done a great injustice to all of mankind. How is that even... I want to jump in. I could die if I do this. I'm going to be really careful about this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's as you can see, lava is in fact gravel, which makes sense, and water somehow has a slightly gravelly texture as well. Sand is slightly gravelly. Even slabs, they're made of gravel now too, apparently. If we mine them, do we get gravel back? We do. We get a gravel slab. I mean, it's a smooth stone slab. But still, you see the issue of all of this? Like, this is a sick creation. But it is one that exists. So, because this is a texture pack review, even though I've stated my opinion very clearly that this is literally a crime against humanity, like, there's tragic events like, oh yeah, there's the Black Death, there's the Holocaust, there's all these bad events, and then there's this texture pack, and they kind of hang out together in the same circle, and yeah, you can see just looking around at this, it's just a, look at my pixel art. It's gravel art now. There's no such thing as pixel art in this texture pack. So, I'm going to try my best to review this in an impartial light. So, as far as pixel art goes, this isn't a very good texture pack, because you can't see any of the pixels or any of the colors. As far as, nice modern builds go, it's not very good, because glass is gravel, and that means you can't see through it. So I'm going to give this a 0 out of 10 for Big Slot. However, in terms of stone buildings, they do still look accurate. This actually looks more like the Bank of Toycat than some of the other texture packs I've used, which is surprising. Maybe it's just an indictment on those bad texture packs, but technically speaking, this can't be given a 0 out of 10 because it's better than some. So we get a solid 2 out of 10 for wooden and stone built spittings, because you can see, oh, birch has a nice color. You can see over here, like, oh yeah, birch and spruce right here, they have nice colors. Look how great and wonderful that is. We can even chop some down if you want to get some gravel out there, and you'll see that, like, oh yeah, it's brown gravel. Look how great this this whole thing is. So yeah, we as far as wooden and stone builds go, a lot of your overworld builds will transfer well into this texture pack. I technically have to say, and it's technically not incorrect, but you know, I'm not gonna say I highly recommend it, but I don't want to say I don't highly recommend it. So yeah, also look at these caves, man. So as far as the Nether is concerned, this is something I haven't actually seen yet. First of all, look at the Nether portal frame. I didn't know you could even humanly do that, but as you can see, the effect is just covering your screen in gravel slightly. Oh, and it slowly solidifies as you go in and out. There is so much effort put into this tragedy. Again, it's like if you developed a super plague that could turn humans into zombies, like, it would be an impressive artwork, but it doesn't mean the world needs it. But yeah, as you can see, the portal right here it's beautiful. It's purple gravel, which is nice. And then Netherrack, somehow, you won't believe this is true. By the way, the flame's going super fast. It's a 1.9 beta thing. But I honestly almost don't believe this is true. But somehow, the Netherrack being red gravel makes it look better than it does in the default texture, in my opinion. I think Netherrack is a very ugly looking block by default. But in this texture pack, I think it looks slightly better. I think that red gravel, like Netherrack, which is basically red gravel already, it actually has like a kind of charm to it that I could see myself using in some places. It looks more scary, more mysterious. Nether brick is just gravel, so have you ever wanted to go to a gravel fortress, which is surrounded by gravel lava? Well, look at the way this flows. Like, it's so much effort went into so many parts of this. So as far as the Nether goes, we can't rate it as 0 out of 10, because I do actually quite like the Netherrack. I think the Nether Fortress, just being pure gravel everywhere, does have its downsides, but the real big upside here is this actually is potentially useful if you're looking for Nether Fortresses. So as far as the Nether goes, we're going to give this a solid, like, 3 out of 10 rating. I mean, it technically is better than some texture packs, and it technically could be useful, because if I want to fly around the Nether, again, this is a copy of the world, it's not the real world, in case you're curious as to why things look different. If you want to find, Nether Fortresses, they should be a lot easier to find. Somehow glowstone is even just glowing gravel too, but they should be a lot easier to find. And ghosts, they're just gravel. Oh my god, this is too much, man. Yeah, as you can see, looking around this, it is, it's a travesty. It's a tragedy? Yeah, a tragedy, travesty. A travesty. A travagy. You know, one of those two words would do it. And, yeah, I'm sure I don't need to say too much more about, like, why this is, but I do think it's technically useful. It technically has some uses, and that's the Nether. But, as you all probably do know if you've watched the texture pack reviews before, we try to do them whenever a big new first-party texture pack comes out, as well as for some store Sundays. I also like to check out the underground and the other part of my world, so you can get a real feel for how that compares too. So let's go back through the gravel portal and have gravel slowly... Oh, even the background is... oh my god, there's so much about this that I find questionable. But this is my house. As you can see, it's a cave house, so it's just a gravel house in this case. Looks just as good as it does before, I guess, technically speaking. I love that the glass is made of gravel. That's a nice improvement. I mean, solid down improvement. But then we have to show off real quick my farms. So I don't imagine the farms have changed, because again, they're not necessarily done in usual texture packs. But let's see what's happening here regardless. Again, old copy of the world, doesn't have my bamboo farm yet. So my carrot is now a gravel carrot. That's nice. And my carrots are now planted on gravel, because everything's gravel in this, including your soil, apparently. So, yeah, I don't think there's much to say there besides, my god, again, a few more times. The sugarcane farm, looking pretty good. If sugarcane doesn't have a texture, then we riot. You know what? Yeah, there's so many ways they could have done this, but they just didn't. What a shame. Side note, oh, dirt is made of gravel, but grass is green gravel, which leads to some really weird things. Also, looking at the mobs, as you can see right here, this is the sheep. Like, oh, look at the Enderman too. Look, Endermans are purple gravel, sheep are made of gravel, and I just, even though not every block is textured, the fact that so many of them are is really quite a thing to me. There's so much wrong with what's going on here. But we do have to finish off this review. As much as I wish we didn't, we're going to go underground and we're going to rate the underground experience. out of 10, give you a rough feel for is this a good texture pack for using below ground. So, assuming you do like your world looking like gravel, assuming you're willing to put up with glass looking like gravel, and green gravel and brown gravel and all the different colors of gravel, what will your underground experience be like? Well, first of all, you're gonna have to deal with gravel slimes, apparently. Why? 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 You have to deal with gravel slimes, and you're also gonna have to deal with the fact that everything looks like gravel, and even the blocks that are meant to be ore blocks, I don't think they look any different. I can't see a single ore block here, and I know there is some. So, I mean, if we ignore the fact that you can't see any ore blocks, I mean, I would say there is potentially some use in this because, theoretically speaking, if you want to mine and you don't want to know what you've gotten until you've mined the block, then this could be a good thing. Like, if you just want to, like, branch mine and not worry about what blocks you're picking up, maybe this is useful, but for everyone else, this is very much not recommended as the underground experience. This gets a solid 0 out of 10. Worst underground texture pack I've seen, which is impressive. We've seen some bad ones, and I know this isn't intended to be great, but, like, it still manages to disappoint. Despite low expectations, it managed to go even lower than those. So, yeah, what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that you shouldn't take this texture pack up, except as a joke, but you probably knew this going in. What I will say, though, is it is a really creative texture pack in a lot of different ways. I like that this is possible, you know, technically a resource pack, but I like that this is possible. I like that this is a thing that you can do. I just think this is one of the worst uses of time I've seen in a while. But thank you very much anyway, BC Deshi. He's from the Discord who sent this in. If you want to send in any, if you want to send pictures or you want to send videos or like ideas, seeds, all that sort of thing, I've actually just started up a Reddit. Oh, it's been there for 2 years, but we've just started like saying it exists because I started a Reddit and then never said anything about it and never went on it myself. But yeah, there's a Reddit. If you want to say, for instance, suggest a Q&A Saturday question, you can do it on the Reddit. If you have an even worse texture pack you think I should see or an image or whatever else, you can suggest it on the Reddit. If you have all these sorts of things you want me to potentially see, the Reddit's the best place to do so because it allows you to vote on other people's suggestions, which means that, you know, unlike the YouTube comments where, like, you know, like, hey, my name, you know, like, the worst things can float to the top on YouTube, even though Reddit has its own whole set of flaws, it's a good way for you as a community to send something. If, say, you have something just as bad as this, you can do that. So yeah, big thank you to BC Deshi for making this and sending it to me, but also, at the same time, no big thank you. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. You can like it if you did like it. You can share it if you really liked it. You can subscribe when you're around here. And I guess I would say to see more videos like this one every day on your homepage. But I hope we never come back to this texture pack. I really do. And that's why I'll see you all in never this, never anything like this, never again. So, goodbye, friends. Wait, just as a small, like, additional note on this video, just, because I was, browsing the creative menu just after this, you know, was finished, and I was like, wow, that is a lot of blocks of gravel, and I spotted a couple ones I found funny. One is that pressure plates are made from gravel too, which, I mean, like, that could potentially be useful in a world filled with gravel. Like, do you know there's pressure plates and anything if everything's gravel? The answer is, like, probably not. It's hard to tell at the very least, so we place a pressure plate there. Do you know it's there? I guess you do in this case. But also the sea lantern, it has an animated texture, so it's 2 separate bits of animated gravel, and there's just something about watching this that is just too much for me. So, yeah, as you can see, this is pretty wild, right? Oh man, that is definitely too much. Okay, for real now, goodbye.